To the travel adventures of Mr. Sneaky Duck and Edgar Allan Crow, ebook, page 7. Now, today I wanted to start with the read aloud, think aloud. Then we're going to review the last lesson. Our review is actually going to teach us our new skills as well, and that is finding information in Wikipedia as a source. A lot of teachers will tell you not to do that, and I would tell you the same thing, but there's a catch. Then some more PC skills that I will show you during my little demonstration, and then which is going to be more of this practice with claims and evidence. We're going to use Google Docs to take notes. I'm going to take you through a claim and finding a certain type of evidence in order to prove or to make my claim very, very strong. Then you can take the quiz and move on to page 8. Now page 8 is the last page of background instruction, and then these guys are going to start traveling everywhere. You're going to see pictures changing and going from different countries after they're done with Japan. What you can do to help. Like I told you before, this is where you can help me. Yes, you. The reason I made this book at first was so that I could show you what Mr. Sneaky Duck and Edgar Allan Crow have been up to during my travels. I also wanted to help you with your reading and vocabulary. But then I noticed that I couldn't rely on Mr. Sneaky Duck's memory of when, where, and how things happened, or on Edgar Allan Crow's fanciful stories that can get a little crazy sometimes. I always have to check their facts. Well, this led me to another idea after all of this news recently about fake news. I decided that since I am a teacher, I could teach you something very, very valuable in your lives. What is it, you ask? Well, I thought about it, and you too have lots of information coming at you literally at the speed of light. Which information is true? Which information is false? What can you believe in this world anymore? I don't want you to feel that way. I want to teach you some tips and tricks to figuring out all these things. I also want to show you some tricks on the computer or tablet so you can get things done faster. How can you figure out what is real and what is fake or not true on the internet in the news? It is possible, and when you can do that, you can find out what is the best for you in your lives, your families, and your communities. People can't cheat you, and you will be able to educate yourselves on anything. All right, this is all true. I realize I made a mistake up here, but my mistake, I just switched some words around, so I didn't repeat it. All right. So, last week, or last lesson, we looked at types of claims and types of evidence and what is valid or what is credible. And then also we talked about cross-checking information. So the types of evidence we talked about were evidence of facts, evidence of statistics, evidence of quotes, and examples. And the type of claims we talked about were claims of fact, claims of value, one thing is better than the other, and claims of policy. And you had a quiz, and on your quiz, this is page 7, I have to go back, no, there it is. On your quiz, you were asked many different questions about claims of value or claims of fact. Now, most of the claims that you hear are going to probably be claims of value and claims of fact. So it says, where did you get your information from in the question above? So this was really trying to check whether you understood what validity was, or a credible website. So when I looked at something and it said we were talking about whether ravens are smarter than crows, I looked many things up. I asked, are ravens smarter than crows? And I found Bob Armstrong's Nature, Alaska. And his conclusion was that they were smarter. Ravens are smarter. And I looked at some other websites. In other words, I cross-checked. And this one says that ravens and crows are equally smart. So that is kind of arguable, because one says that some are smarter and the other website says that they're equally smart. So if you said that they are equally smart, or if you said that yes, it is arguable, you were correct. Although a lot of people may find a strong argument in the fact or the factual claim that ravens are smarter than crows. Of course, like I said, it can be argued because crows tend to work in teams more than ravens do. So if that has anything to do with intelligence, you may be able to prove that crows are maybe more intelligent because they can work with others. What I want to do today is take you through a claim of fact, and to help you find evidence of fact or factual evidence in order to support your claim. Now first I want to bring up a Google Doc, and if you remember how to do that, you go into Google, and if you're signed in already, you click on this little tic-tac-toe thing, or all these 9 squares, and you go down to your drive. Your drive will pop up soon enough. Then you click on New. As soon as it populates. And Google Doc. And this will open up, and we're going to title it eBook page 7, Notes. eBook page 7, Notes. All right, so I want to make a claim of fact. Now, do you remember Jalissa and how she fell from the swing set? Well, I want to make a claim of fact that Jalissa fell about 20 feet through the air and landed on her back. All right, that's the claim, that Jalissa fell about 20 feet through the air and landed on her back. Now, when you say 20 feet or write 20 feet, that seems to be something that's factual, or at least you think is a fact that you're going to have to find evidence to support. So what is going to be the factual evidence? And remember that it has to be valid and reliable. Valid information. It has to be credible. So let's correct my evidence spelling. I didn't do that on purpose. All right. So when I thought about this, I thought about, let's look at the video one more time in order to see what's going on. And I look at a swing set, and Jalissa is swinging, and as I play it, it says go Jalissa, and if I pause it, I can see that Jalissa, at least her backside here, is almost even with the top bar of the swing set. So here's the skill I want to teach you. I want to print this screen so I can make something to try to prove how far Jalissa fell. So in order to print my screen, I have to push Fn and print screen button. And I'll show you where that is in a minute. And what that does is it copies this graphic that's on your screen right now and makes it a JPEG picture. And it's in your it's being saved in your memory of your computer. So let's go back to the Google Doc, and I want to paste that picture. So remember, to paste is Control V as in Victor. Alright, so now we have Jalissa here, and she is, let's put this up here, and she's falling, or excuse me, she's up even with the swing set. So we can say that she's even with the top bar. Well, which also makes me think I can find some evidence on the internet. And when I look up swing sets, because I want to see how tall the swing set is, because we know that at least she fell as far as the swing set is tall, because she's even with the top of it right now. That seems to be a fact. And so when I was looking, I eventually found a swing set that was almost exactly equal to the one they're playing on. And if I look back at my document where I copied the picture, you could see that the swing set is almost identical. And this boy or man is at least 4 to 5 feet tall, which means that this looks about the same size as the one that I found. So that factual evidence, I could prove, or at least with evidence I could support, that the swing was at least 12 feet high. So if I wanted to, remember what print screen was? So let me give you a break here and bring up the keyboard. And when we look at the keyboard, we can see a print screen right up here. So PRNTSCR, sometimes it has a little N there. And so this looks like you would have to hit Control and print screen, or just print screen. Don't worry, you can practice. If you press this and nothing happens when you hit Control V afterwards, then try to hit Control or even Alt and this, because sometimes these have 2 or 3 different functions, and whether you hit the Control, the FN, or the Alt, it will be a different function for this key. So you can test it, it won't hurt anything, until you find, after you hit Control V as in victory, and it gets pasted, you know you've done a good job. So this is my first bit of evidence, and my second bit of evidence was the swing set and how tall it was. So this says 12 feet. I'm going to print the screen again. So print screen, I push that button, and I'm going to go down here and Control V, paste it. There we go. So now we have the height of the swing set. So then I thought, well, maybe this information needs to be cross-checked a little bit. Well, I cross-checked it by the height of the boy, We think the boy is at least 4 or 5 feet tall. But then we could also cross-check it with factual information. And some factual information is what we call the acceleration of gravity. Now, we know if we drop an object and see how long it takes to touch the ground, we know exactly how far it fell, because gravity acts on everything the same. So I looked that up and I found what they called a gravity calculator. So all I need to do right now is figure out how long it took her to fly through the air. So let's look at that right now. Alright, so all we have to do now is time how long it takes Jalissa to fly through the air and land on her back. Okay, so let's, you gotta be very careful, time this properly.
Go, Jalissa.
Alright, I'm getting ready. Here it comes, no more pushing, he said. And now. Wow, it's 1.139 seconds that she's falling through the air. Not in slow motion, that takes a lot longer. So 1.139 seconds. Let's go back to our Google Doc and say that she falls for 1.39 or 1.139 seconds. So with that evidence of how long she's falling for, we can use our acceleration of gravity to cross-check the height of the swing set. Now we don't know the distance yet because we need to account for how fast she was going through the air to figure out how much extra distance she flew. So enter the number of seconds. So right there it was 1.139 seconds. Double check, yes. And then once you calculate that, it says an object has fallen 6.36 meters. So let's check this out here. Control C. Because if we're trying to find out how many feet, and Google also allows you to convert things easily between meters and feet. So I put from meters to feet. Might even give you a little calculator. So we have meters there, and it says, wow, she flew 20.87 feet. So wow, I have more evidence. If I wanted to do another print screen, I could for my notes. So I got my print screen going, and I'm going to go back here. So I bet you never thought that this could be so boring. So now we have some factual evidence to support that Jalissa fell about 20 feet through the air and landed on her back. Obviously she landed on her back because we saw the video. But the factual evidence that supports it is that the acceleration of gravity and how long we timed her flying through the air, and then, which was 1.139 seconds, then we figured out and cross-checked that with a 12-foot swing set, and we knew it was at least 12 feet, and then the fact that the boy was at least 4 or 5 feet tall. This was another bit of evidence, which is a picture evidence. We could cross that picture evidence with this here, cross-check it, So this evidence it cross-checks out. It's valid because it's a website that sells the swing set. It's not going to lie to you about the height of it. And it's also valid because the acceleration of gravity is a common thing. You know, Sir Isaac Newton tried to help us figure out what that was all about. And so it's a constant. So we could say with confidence that Jalissa flew through the air. Maybe I want to make it more colorful. Flew through the air and fell about 20 feet. Wait, let's correct it one more time. Jalissa flew through the air and fell about 20 feet. Now let's say Anne landed on her back. There. And my evidence comes from the acceleration of gravity, how long it took her to fall, and the height of the swing set, and the picture evidence. There could be one more way to cross-check this, and that is through the Pythagorean theorem. Because if you know the height of an object and a distance, you could figure out how far she flew by figuring out a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that's another way to cross-check that data or that evidence for your paper. So therefore, what did we learn today? We learned how to get factual evidence for a claim in order to support a claim. And we also learned a PC skill of printing the screen. And Control V as in victory, we pasted it. So that's something we learned before. So, and we brought up a Google Doc and used it. I also wanted to talk to you one last thing about Wikipedia as a source. So if we look at Wikipedia, and let's look up crows on Wikipedia. So Corvus, I guess that's the scientific name for crow, and I click on Wikipedia, and Wikipedia comes up. Now all your teachers are going to tell you forever and ever, do not use this information for your research paper. Don't use it for evidence or support. Well, that's true, because anybody can change this page. You just log in right here and you change it. You could say this crow is, you know, Edgar Allan Crow's cousin if you wanted, and you could write it right in here. Anybody could. However, if you go down to the very bottom of most, not all, but most pages that are on Wikipedia, they have what they call references or citations where they find their information, the address of their information. And what I would do is I would look through this so that I might find better data and better evidence. This one says National Geographic News. We've already found out that that is valid and credible for evidence. So maybe, perhaps, some of these sites are not good, but you know how to check for validity. You know how to check to see if a website is credible because you already practiced that. So if you want to use Wikipedia to try to find other links to look up for other, information, I say feel free. But also, you must check the validity of this. Don't forget, because these could be invalid as well. Thank you very much. That concludes our lesson today. We're going to have a small quiz, not too big. And see you later. Alt-Tab, 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 and stop.